Recording in
my
progress.
mother-in-law said that I had a food addiction, while for me it wasn't the endorphins, but it's kind of that same, okay? And then you may have either some cravings or substance associated with low endorphins to curb that comfort, to help numb. And some things would be, again, could be even excessive internet shopping. That increases our endorphins. Excessive spending money, gambling. I had a 78-year-old mom. Her daughter brought her to me, and we were able to help her with her excessive gambling. Just being there, and she went every single day. So while some of what we've been talking about may be food cravings, sometimes there's something else. Well, we got her started on some of the, it's a DLPA, is the amino acid that will help those neurotransmitters. And she began to go less and less to the casinos. And today, we're about 2.5 years later, she can go to the casinos. It doesn't need to be daily. And she can even go and not gamble. Again, some of the brain food, if you look here in the green, to give you that happy, that balance, that's going to be some. There's also one called DPA. That's not quite as easy to get a hold of, but DLPA. This can help raise the endorphins in the brain, and then again, help with those symptoms and provide you a decrease. And the last two, what's my time? Okay, good. So I want to go through these so we have plenty of times for questions. So these last two actually are directly related to blood sugars and hormones that are involved with that HPA access. So glutamines, you can see what the desires are. Blood sugar, thinking clearly, if you desire improved blood sugar, craving control. If you're one that skips meals and you get irritable, shaky, or headaches, if it's been too long between meals, and this happens, you know that you have a sugar decrease. Sometimes by providing yourself with glutamine, this amino acid, they call it cravings be gone. You get a concentrated dose. It goes to the brain. And you may find that you are having less cravings. And when I talk about these cravings, it's not just sugar. So if you have some people have cravings all day long. Some they're in the afternoon, some in the evenings. I'll just tell you quickly, one of my clients, she came in to see me because she thought she was an alcoholic. She had 1 glass of wine a day, every single day for the last 20 plus years. She said, what can you help me with? So the first thing we did was I discussed glutamine with her, how it may help. And she started the glutamine. And I believe it was around the 3rd or the 4th day. She had her glasses of wine, but around the 3rd or 4th day, she didn't finish it. This went on for a couple days or some time. Her and her husband come home every day from work, and together they will make dinner. And the ritual has been, get a glass of wine, we start cooking. Now, he always had a glass of wine and then had ice cream. He started recognizing that he wasn't finishing his bowl of ice cream. At some point, She starts making dinner and she recognized she didn't pour a glass of wine. So again, we're going to do these, they're concentrated doses. Some call them therapeutic, clinical, whatever you want to look at. I mean, these are things that they're using in recovery centers, folks. They typically are using an IV, so there's no rebuild with an IV, because that's most of those are just straight chemicals. But the recovery rate for those that do use it, and I can give you some names if you want to contact me of recovery centers that do, actually is phenomenally better. But then there's a downfall because they didn't teach them to stay on these until those neurotransmitters were actually rebuilt. The other things that glutamine, and glutamine has a lot of other properties. I know many of you know this, like helping with the mucosa of the gut lining, right? But right now we just want to stay pretty specific and, let's kick those cravings. And then you've got the leptins and the hormones that some people are doing all the right things, but they're still not able to drop those last pounds, or sometimes there's a real stuck. You get mood swings, you can't take off or keep off that extra weight. Some of the cravings, again, we know that you're going to be low in hormones. Which type of hormones? Sometimes that can be tricky. So there's fibers and essential fatty acids that can be taken together that will help with these hormones. Ultimately, with all of these, in the very first part 1, we talked about the need for having a good protein and good fats at your meals. But we're talking about maybe trimming that belly fat or the waistline. And so the leptins, they actually control appetite. And then this other reduces the belly fat. So when we bring these together, you can impact. Imagine this: if I can stop eating less, if I'm feeling better about my situation or in less pain, am I likely to be moving more? And if I'm moving more, oftentimes weight loss happens a little more naturally. But you're going to use these for a time to help you get over that proverbial hump, right? Any of us ever been there? And so I'd like to hear, let's just go back to GABA real quick, because I'd like to hear if there's anybody that maybe is struggling with anxiety or overwhelm. And while we pull that up, Rebecca, I want to tell you a story, and some of you may have heard this before, about a Marine that came in to my office, and we had talked on the phone prior to his arrival, 27 years old, living with his mom and dad, no longer with his wife, no longer with a job. And he had already taken the test. And so as soon as he walked in, we gave him some GABA. But when he walked in, he sat on the back of my couch, like way up here. He wasn't sitting with his seat. His feet were on the seat. And he grabbed one of my blankets and he had it over his head and shoulders. After the first GABA, he kind of dropped the blanket down and then he slid his rump onto the couch, still had his legs pulled up though. I said, do you think you could use another? It was about 20 minutes. He said, yes. We gave him another. And so we're talking probably half an hour later. He's laughing and he's dropped the blanket. He had brought his mom with him. She was out front. She comes in to see what's going on because she hadn't seen her son in such a wonderful mood in quite some time. And he had been talking about taking his life. Getting those neurotransmitters correct so that we are not on synthetics for the rest of our life is so exciting to me. It's a real thing. It hits my own heart because my own kids had struggled with some of these things when they were younger, to the point that we tried all kinds of ADD, ADHD. They got some improvements, but the side effects were pretty rough. And oftentimes they're now finding that that's setting up the child for a chemical dependency. And oftentimes a chemical dependency of another kind, which we don't want. Let's help them rebuild those neurotransmitters.
Well, Yvonne, you shared so much information and so many things that affect each and every one of us, whether it's ourselves. And let's go ahead and stop the screen share here. And there we go. So whether it's affecting ourselves and things that we didn't realize could be helped by intentionally supplementing, or someone we know and love, or even just somebody that we know. So folks, please make sure that you like, subscribe to this channel, and most importantly, share this program with somebody that you know. And if you're here listening and something has resonated with you, go ahead and drop in that chat. What resonated with you? We want to know. As you're talking about addictions, some minor things that you wouldn't even think are an addiction, to some major things. And I loved how you shared those stories that were real people that you've worked with and how they changed, whether it was within an hour or two or over an extended amount of time.
Yeah, a really neat thing about amino acids is the research shows that they can hit the brain literally in 1 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like when I was going through my credentials, we actually had to try everything and then we had to push everything. So let me just say this, obviously always check with your healthcare professional, but we had to push past to where we had too much. I'll tell you, if you get too much, you'll know, because the very symptoms that you're trying to decrease will increase. But the symptoms will go away within about 4 to 6 hours. If you drink or eat, that'll help push and flush it out a little sooner. But just recognize, we're talking about foods here, right? Things that the body are required. And sometimes we overeat and we get some of these symptoms, but we've never went back and recognized that sugar or that thing that I just ate. Could that be associated with this mood that I'm having right now? Yes, it can.
Yes, absolutely. Yvonne, we're getting some great comments here. NL says this program is right on target for me right now. Teresa says always valuable information. Thank you. Brenda says Yvonne's knowledge is amazing. And then there are some questions. So are you ready for questions in the last 10 minutes here?
I'd be happy to try to help.
All right. So, and if you don't know the answer, and folks, this is for everybody. If you don't know the answer to a question, it's okay to say, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that, but let me get back to you with that answer. Okay. So the first one is from Mark. He says, I think L-tyrosine should be taken with NAC. Are you familiar with any type of synergy between the two?
Well, sure. There's going to be several, all your nutrients will help enhance whatever you are taking. But no, there are products out there where the L-tyrosine is not. Some amino acids part one, we covered this. Some of the amino acids are not, there are some that cross the blood-brain barrier, some that do not, and some that work together, and some that you want to take away from other things. So again, I'm giving you some simple things, but no, it's not required. Can it enhance? Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And NL says, what amount of glutamine in general would one take to start with? They say, I take some each day, but maybe not enough. Do you know any quantities?
So when we start in a supplementation form, it's a vegetable, plant-based. We start with 500 milligram. And you can safely go, I believe it's 6 grams. So that would be like about 6,000 grams, but don't quote me on that. So
Milligrams.
yeah.
Okay. So
There was a little
approximately,
range there. I hope I gave that to you correctly.
yeah. So up to 6,000 milligrams, which would be equivalent to 6 grams, correct?
Yeah. Did I misstate
right.
that? Thank you.
No, no worries. No worries. All right. And Carrie is asking, and I don't know if you know much about this product as it is fairly new to the longevity line. She's wanting to know if Nano Balance would help. Now, Nano Balance has the Manuka honey. It has the black pepper extract. It has curcumin in it, and one more thing,
Thyme oil.
and thyme oil. So
And-
those are all immune building components working together.
So if she's asking if those are beneficial for brain health, I'm sure that they will provide some goodness, but we're talking about utilizing sources that are the precursor to hormones, and these hormones go in and impact the neurotransmitters. That's what needs to happen for rebuild. Now, if you just take a little bit, ideally, the regime is every 4 waking hours, because your goal is to rebuild, not just necessarily placate. If you choose to take it willy-nilly here and there, won't hurt you. You're likely to be taking it longer than necessary, because like anything else, when you have to rebuild, it's kind of like if I think we talked about this before on one of our shows. If I had 4 cups, cup number 1, here's enough for me to survive the day of what I'm drinking. Here's cup number 2. This is enough for me to maintain my current status. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to maintain. I was looking to improve what I was already improving on. So that's going to be either this or this, depending upon your weight and your activity level. Sometimes people forget about, if we drive faster or longer, do we require more gas in our tank? Yes, it's the same with the body. How many of us are running? We may not be an athlete, but we're running harder than the couch potato. That 1 dose or that 2nd dose isn't going to be enough. Okay. If you're looking to rebuild missing tissue. And remember, in the 4 tissue groups, what are the 4 tissue issues? There's 4 basic tissues of the body. Go look that up. And in the soft tissue, which does include the brain and the hormones, we need to be taking in proteins and fats.
All right. And that was something you mentioned earlier, fats. The USDA has demonized fats.
Yeah.
And going into low fat diet and avoiding fats. Of course, there's good fats, there's bad fats.
Yeah.
Folks, you don't want to avoid fats altogether. They are so important. And fats even have vitamins, those fatty vitamins that are needed for our brain, for our eyes, for our skin. Yet, when you say fat, it's like one thing, and it's not.
It's not. It's
So
like saying nutrients and people think vitamins and minerals. There's a ton of nutrients. And I see oftentimes bottles will be mislabeled. I was looking at a bottle recently. I could see the number of food sources in there. And they put on there something like, and this was a very quality product, but whoever did their marketing, they put on there that there was only something like, give me a minute, 32 nutrients. Well, first of all, we have one of these products called Stabilized Rice Bran. That food source alone is kind of like hemp. It has something like over 200, I've even heard numbers as high as 400 different compounds, molecules to help the body. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times that word nutrient is in fact like fats, not understood. It's used like the word Kleenex, right? Facial tissue Kleenex.
Yes, where it's a brand
Right.
and not necessarily just like Band-Aid is a brand, but we use it in general. Well, Yvonne, we're getting so many questions coming in. Zach says you spoke to me directly. Verna's wanting to know if there's any products that have glutamine in it. And also Mark says the Beyond Sleep gummies from Longevity are loaded with some of the amino acids that you are mentioning today. And they're
Fantastic.
yummy gummies. So yes, there are products within the Longevity product line that do have the nutrients, the amino acids that Yvonne is speaking of. So make sure that you get back with the person that referred you to this program to help pick which one's going to be a best fit for you. And if there's nobody that you're working with, you were found this program all on your own, we do have a call team available for those who have never tried the products. You can call 855-949-3377. Now, let's go to Marilyn. Marilyn, go ahead and unmute yourself. What question do you have for Yvonne today?
Hi, Yvonne. When you,
Hello.
for your therapy, do you, with the amino acids, do you just have people ingest amino acids or do you inject them at all into the body?
Nope, I do not do any IVs. And if you remember, I'm a microcurrent therapist, so I try to do all things non-invasive.
Okay. And so what do you think about taking like Longevity's B-full amino charge? Would you say 1 scoop, 2 scoops? Have you know about the product?
You know, I do know about the product, but I haven't, gone into take a look there. And at a very minimum, let me just state this. If the dosage is not a high enough concentration that you are recognizing an immediate change, because you should, take them in a supplement concentrated form and then go back and use the amino charge as your maintenance, especially if you're someone that is not eating enough fats, or excuse me, enough proteins during the day. Yeah, I do remember looking at that product. So, and there were many of these aminos, not all of them.
20. It has about 20. Is that the proper number, like the human body
No,
really?
this isn't about the numbers. This is about specific amino acids for these neurotransmitters. So remember in the beginning, I stated that there are the body requires all the amino acids, but when we get low in particular areas of the brain, these specific amino acids that we went through the chart, the quick quiz, are very specific to improve those symptoms. And then we can use an amino acid like the supercharge to help maintain, again, especially if we're not eating. And I had someone who said, "Oh, I'm eating protein every day." It was chicken and turkey. That's all they did. you're going to need to have a variety. So if that's you, if you're only doing chicken and turkey, definitely add some additional protein sources like the supercharge.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, great questions. Thank you so much, Marilyn, for bringing those in today. And AJ, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Yvonne. How are you?
Mwah, mwah. Doing well, thank you.
Good to see you, sister. So I've only got 35 questions for you, and it will be quick. Elise, if you want to unmute yourself, if we can find Elise, she had a question about what would be best for seizure and epilepsy disorders.
Is she coming on or am I just answering?
Can you hear me? Am I on?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I just wanted to see what would be your recommendations for seizure disorders or different types of epilepsy.
Certainly. Well, first I'm going to tell you about a couple books that you can check out, all based on everything that I just talked about. One would be The Craving Cure, and the other is The Mood Cure. And in those, along with Dr. Bloom and Julia Ross and many others, GABA is and has been shown to assist with epileptic symptoms. And even, sometimes other symptoms like some of the Parkinson's. Same with the tyrosine, but for the Parkinson's, not the epilepsy.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information.
And with the GABA, I'll just say, typically you'll find it starting in a supplement form around 125 milligrams. If you're not sure what you need, open that capsule up, put in a little bit of water, and then just take a shot back, and you can slowly titrate up. But you don't increase past 6,000 milligrams in the GABA. And here's how you know that you've had a little too much is the very thing that you're trying to negate may actually increase. So again, it'll be out of the system in about 4 to 6 hours. If you want to flush with extra water and salts, not water alone, or water and minerals. Remember, minerals are those detoxifiers, and or eating as well. Next question.
All right, so we have a question that's asking, what can we do about essential tremors? Is that something you want to talk about?
Unfortunately, I haven't come across information, but there are some people, everybody's situation can be different. What was the causation of the essential tremors? Was there a surgical injury? Was there trauma like a car or motorcycle accident? So sometimes I think there's some other extenuating factors, but if you've exhausted all your resources, GABA, 5-HTP, and the endorphins all have and play an impact on some of those nerve tension, and they help alleviate some of those nerve tension issues. So I want to be real cautious about what I say.
And I just want to point out to everyone who's watching on the channel that in the description, products that have some of the aminos that Yvonne mentioned are in the description. So just expand the description and go talk with your person who invited you to watch the show and let them know that you're interested in the particular products that are mentioned. And as always, fantastic to have you with us.
Thank you. And, I'm always available. They can call me as well, and I can help walk them through. But absolutely, yeah, check with your healthcare provider and, and then come back and let us know about the improvements. Any other questions?
Well, Yvonne, I just wanted to share your contact information if you'd like to share that with others. Now, do realize, folks, that she is a practitioner. She does have her own practice and where she's working with individuals in person. There are some things that she can consult on over the phone. And we want to definitely respect her time for that, her knowledge and experience. So what would be the best way for somebody to set up an appointment for you or with you, Yvonne?
So probably the best way, you can go to my website, forabetteryou2.com. And I think it says contact, and that should send me an email and give me a little grace because sometimes I might miss that, but I will get to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I think my
so
phone number or email might even be on there as well. So you can contact me that way.
better. And the email is better at Yvonne Rea, which is YVONNEREA.com. Website again is the number 4, a better, the letter U, number 2.com. Well, Yvonne,
I think it's
thank
right
you.
there in my name. There it is, right there in my name.
Yes, you
My
can
name,
you can see
the
it
little
right
name
there in
tag.
her name. She offers laser, PEMF, microcurrent, AO scanning, Zyto scanning, terahertz, biofeedback, infrared light, scalar frequency, intermittent fasting, amino acid therapy, military pain therapies. There's some body alignment, which it works. I've experienced that myself. Vagus nerve stimulation, whole food nutrition, which longevity is one of her favorite recommendations for that. So folks, there's so much that she offers. Being in may I list the city and state?
Sure.
In the Sacramento area, if you are close enough to her, she's well worth the trip from experience. So again, for a better you2.com to get a hold of the amazing Yvonne Rea. Yvonne, thank you again for another great show, great information to share, and we greatly appreciate you and donating your time to our audience and to help this community that you and I are both a part of in helping others find a better health journey. You are
Thank
awesome.
you. And I'd like to ask, where can people find the replay? Because I really just want to encourage, if you know somebody that could utilize, this really is a simple solution to start and reverse some brain health. And I've seen some really incredible things, but I'm just not hearing about too many others that are talking about it. Where can somebody watch this and then maybe turn around and share it? And
Well,
you guys, if you do that, even tag, like if you're on Facebook, tag that you're sharing it so others will see that come up in the post again too.
absolutely. So we do stream this to Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. I think we're going to Instagram, Twitch, and LinkedIn. If you do a search, folks, in your browser for Daily with Doc and then Yvonne, Yvonne,
YVONNE.
I did it again. I did it again, and I'm looking at it. Oh, do I need more GABA?
I don't know, maybe. But I just want to say that today's show, I lost it. My whole house lost internet. I think the entire neighborhood for like 5 minutes. So I will have to repost the video after I edit the Zoom version of it because we lost about 5 to 10 minutes, I think. I'm hoping it's only 5, but I just wanted to apologize. The internet company is doing maintenance and they always pick the worst time. So the full show should be back up by tomorrow. because I have to wait for it to process and then set it up.
Yes.
And we'll get it out there. So if you look for it right after the show, it's going to be broken. And I'm so sorry. Please forgive my internet company.
We'll get the whole thing up, as we do have the original Zoom recording, and we'll get that all stitched back together, because Ruth Ellen is just that awesome. And if we could get the rest of our co-host team up on the screen with us, that would be fantastic. As folks, we are past the hour, and you guys are hanging out with us still. You are investing time into yourself that your body will thank you for. So again, thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. And if you have any interest at all, like getting more information about what you can do to help yourself, your family, your community, there is an affordable, even with payment plan, certified holistic health coach course that's offered by the Institute of Holistic Health. You can get more information about that by going to coach.dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's coach, COACH .dailywithdoc.com. Now, each of the people on this screen have completed that course, including Yvonne herself and myself, and Ruth Ellen, who is my executive production manager and the person that's responsible for grabbing the Zoom video, putting it together with the graphics, and then pushing it out to the streams where we are streaming live. Thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for all you do in that. And I know how stressful it is when the internet goes down. But we've got solutions. That's what we're all about. And we have Phyllis, who is tag teaming with Marilyn and putting that information into the chat, which is one of the greatest reasons to be here live with us, folks, is you do get that chat with dictation, where if you can't write fast enough between these two ladies, they don't miss a thing, and you can refer back to it to write your own notes. So thank you so much to Phyllis and Marilyn both for all that they do and using that skill that God has given them. And we have Jerry, who is part of the tech crew and getting things set up an hour before the show so that we can stream to all these different platforms. Thank you, Sherry, for helping with that. And we have AJ, who has helped us get set up on all these different platforms so that we can meet you where you're at, folks. And last but not least, we have Albert letting people into the live Zoom, which again, if you would like to join us live, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, except on holidays. Go to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here today. Again, this program is being sponsored by dailywithdoc.com. You'll find replays of previous programming. You'll find good foods, bad foods list, and additional articles to help you on this journey we call life, finding alternative options to what some medical approaches just throw chemicals at. Folks, we're not chemical deficient. We're nutrient deficient. And as Dr. Wallach found in his research, there are 90 essential nutrients. Essential meaning our bodies are not making them. We've got to take them in intentionally. And with our food sources depleting of these nutrients, intentionality is even more important. So with 90, he also found that there's approximately 10, sometimes more, poor health symptoms related to each nutrient deficiency. So if you go 10 times 90, that's 900. Chances are, if you've got poor health symptoms, most of them, if not all of them, are not genetic. It's a simple nutritional deficiency that through intentional supplementation, like we offer through our programming, you can find a better health journey. And my name is Becca Dukes. Thank you again so much for joining us here. Like us, share us, and don't forget to make a comment and let us know where you're joining us from. Until next time, bye for now. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.